Can you give me details about the Safe Social Media Act in Canada? What does it cover? Is there a date when it's going to go into effect? So, from my understanding, the Safe Social Media Act is something that's copying the it's copying Australia's social media ban for children. I think it's under 16 that they're still looking at. I know it's been tabled. Nothing's been passed. Oh, sure. Thanks. I'll check that out. Um, but nothing's been passed yet. But now that we have a majority government, things are actually they're actually getting stuff through at a decent pace. So let's have a read about it. And I could probably also find a clip about this. Safe social media. Here's what I found. Note up front on your effective date question, there isn't one yet, and it's likely years. Oh, goodness. Like, I thought because we had a majority, things would move forward a little quicker. But it's saying it's still likely years away. I'll explain why below. Okay. What it is. The Safe Social Media Act is Bill C-34, introduced in the House of Commons on June 10th. Like that's just a week ago. It would enact two new pieces of legislation: the Digital Safety Act, the substantive rule, and the Digital Safety Commission of Canada Act, which creates a new independent regulator to enforce them. I mean, that's important. It's worth knowing this is essentially a revival of earlier effort. It builds on the government's past attempt to establish an online harms framework, reviving several key proposals from the previous bill, C-63, the Online Harms Act that was proposed in 2024 but never passed. Okay, so they've been trying to get this passed for a while then. I guess this is the effect of seeing Australia pass one, right? As soon as one country passes one of these pieces of legislation, all of a sudden other countries are more willing to pursue it, because like you could see the effects of it already in Australia. And from my understanding, Australia is actually doubling down on their social media ban for children. So we got a live test case of that. What it covers. Despite the social media name, the scope is broad. It regulates social media services, AI chatbot services. This is one that's weird. Like, I personally never liked my AI trying to pretend it's a person to me. Like, I enjoy using it like I would use a more advanced version of Google to collect data, aggregate it, and then provide me with information like I do here. This is how I enjoy using social media. I mean, enjoy using AI. As soon as it starts to talk like a person, like I know Claude, they fixed it. Claude had an issue where when their voice mode, they didn't have this one. All they had was this one, and you click this, and then all of a sudden it starts like having a conversation with you. That is a hard no for me. I don't want my AI doing that, and having that for kids is really, it's weird. I don't know what effect it's gonna have. Like, there's a lot of talk about like, are the children okay? And in my opinion, I looked into this a little bit, and there's more ways you can screw up parenting. but generally the kids, like, they're fine. They're learning a different skill set um than what we did, obviously, as when we were kids. But that is them adapting to their new reality. Like, kids adapt to the reality you raise them in. Um, and the fact is, the current reality we're raising them in, there's a lot of like digital and online stuff, and this doesn't lend well to traditional learning, because there's actually data that shows there's a cognitive decline, but that's in a standardized test format, and we know, like, the digital aspect and social media hurts attention spans, and that just directly hurts a child's ability um, to perform on standardized testing. And so you see that across the board. um, and there's COVID in there that just screwed up a bunch of them. And we never fixed that problem. But the AI chatbot services for children, that's, I agree that it should be banned. I don't think all AI should be banned, but the chatbot services, I think, are dangerous. And other online services. Okay, I don't know what that is. The obligations are organized under 3 core duties. A duty to protect children, which requires regulated services to implement design features to make their services safe for children. A duty to act responsibly, which regulates services to assess and mitigate risks associated with exposure to 7 categories of harmful content. Apply labels to synthetically generated content. Ooh. This is something we should have had a long time ago. And provide clear ways for users to flag harmful content and block other users. So, I see what you're trying to do here, Canadian government, but like, if you want this to be successful, I personally don't see social media as bad for children. I see our current version of social media being extremely bad for children. Like, I largely view something like Facebook or social media as like a playground, for example, except it's opaque. Like, it's covered in fog. You can't see anything that happens on the playground, because, unless you're directly interacting with someone there, you don't know what's going on. Also, the playground is open to the public, and anyone who feels like it can show up and talk to your children on this playground. There is no supervision. Like, there's a reason when you let kids go out to recess that there is a supervisor out there. And even then, like, shit happens. And social media in its current form doesn't have supervision, allows anyone in the public to show up. It's just flawed. It's just deeply flawed. There is a way you could do social media for kids that is beneficial. If there is like a supervisor aspect, if you do the digital ID system so that children are talking to children, and you don't just allow any random adult to go in and talk to children through a digital ID system, which, if you want to fix the problem, you need a government-based digital ID system. It's the only way you'll fix it. Because, I don't think social media is going to go away. They'll always find a way to engage with social media if they want to. The goal shouldn't be to remove it. It should be to allow it to be safe so that it is beneficial to the kids rather than detrimental to them. And I think you could set that up, but for profit probably will never set that up. You'd need to force that into creation through regulation. And rather than doing that, they're siding on the, oh, let's just ban it. Which, I mean, I think it'll have mixed results. Let's continue. So where were we? Apply labels to synthetically generated content. Always should have been there. Like, I already have an issue, and I'm computer literate, and some AI is already good enough that, like, I don't catch it, and I find myself like going into the comments and seeing if people are tagging it as AI. AI should always be labeled, and it should be forced to do that in order to post it, because that is going to cause problems. That is going to cause so many problems. And provide clear ways for users to flag harmful content and block other users. Again, always should be possible. A duty to make certain content inaccessible, requiring the rapid removal of content that sexually victimizes a child or re-victimizes a survivor, or intimidate content communicated without consent, including deepfakes. Like, we've seen kind of like an evolution here, where deepfakes used to be of famous people, because the technology to do it was so extreme, and so it was tough to do, so it was usually done to famous people or popular actors or whatever. It's become so easy to do now that I think it was 1 in 3 young women have faced an issue with deepfakes. Let me confirm that statistic before we go on. Because that was one of the wild claims. I remember hearing a statistic where 1 in 3 young women have been a victim of deepfakes. Is this true? Where did this come from? Like, it's just so easy to do nowadays that it's hard to trying to get the government or some kind of regulator to police this it's going to be difficult, because AI is getting to the point where it is difficult to tell the difference between an AI and reality. And if you give people the ability to take down any content, then all the content's going to get taken down, because someone's going to dislike everything. And so regulating this and getting this right is important, because like victimizing people with deepfakes is a terrible thing to have happen. It is absolutely something that they should be able to remove. But how you do that without allowing people to just remove any content they don't like it's a difficult tightrope to walk. Let me see. The short version, this you heard 1 in 3 young women have been a victim of deepfake doesn't appear to match any real findings. It looks like a compilation of several different 1 in 3 numbers that measure quite different things, and the actual victimization rate that researchers have found are much lower. Well, okay, well let me see the actual victimization rates. Here's where the confusion likely come from. Okay, a couple of other nearby numbers that may have fed into the version you heard. A UK Girl Guide survey found that over 1 in 4 of respondents aged 13 to 18 said they had been a sexualized deepfake. They had seen a sexualized deepfake of a celebrity, friend, teacher, or themselves. Okay, that's seeing one. bottom line. Okay. What is solidly established is that the harm is heavily gendered. Multiple analysts find that 96 to 98% of deepfake videos online are non-consensual pornography. 99 to 100% of victims in deepfake pornography are female. 99 to 100. So this is the 99.99999. They rounded right to 100. So women are overwhelmingly the targets of the deepfakes that do exist. But that statement about who gets targeted, not the share of all young women who've been targeted. Okay, if this statistic isn't good, then what is the good statistic? Can you find me the correct statistic then? Let's say between 18 and 30, what percentage of women have been affected by deepfakes? What percentage of women have been affected by the? Okay, let's see what it comes up with. I don't remember where I saw that. Maybe it was TikTok. Scrolling, but it was something like 1 in 3 women had been affected. Young women, like I'm saying 18 between 30, but probably younger than that, like 18 and 24, probably the generation that more actively uses things like AI, and then like, okay, well we're gonna get the actual statistic, so that there isn't a published statistic. Okay, what percentage now? I just want something close. 2024 UK surveyed about 2,000 adults and found that 1 in 10 reported either being a victim of deepfake pornography, knowing a victim, or both. 9%. Note this bundles being a victim together with knowing a victim, so the share who were presently targeted. But it also says adults, and like if you're over 30, you probably don't even know what AI is. Or you don't actively use AI in the same way. What else is there? Research approach it differently. They found 43% of people aged 16 plus said they had seen at least one deepfake in the past 6 months. 1 in 7 said they had seen a sexual deepfake. Of that group who'd been sexual deepfake, 64% said it was a celebrity or a public figure. Okay, so it doesn't appear this issue is quite as widespread as the original statistic I heard sounds. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're the victim of a deepfake, it is a terrible thing. And so having legislation that helps you remove that, I think is good, as long as the legislation is done right. Because if it's 9%, so that's like less. The issue is it is a growing percentage. Like this is a growing problem as things like Grok image allows you to more easily generate a deepfake image. But not as bad as I thought it was. Okay, let's continue. The most attention-grabbing piece is the age restriction, a temporary prohibition on social media accounts for persons under the age 16, backed by age verification obligations on some operators. The only way you're ever going to get this is government ID. Like, it's the only way you can ensure this is done right. As much as I dislike the idea of a government ID, with the advance of AI and stuff like that now, it's almost necessary. Like, I wouldn't say you need it everywhere, but I think you need it for most social media at this point. And if you required a government ID, you could ensure people under the age of 16 were not on there. And without that, they'll just pretend, like hold a piece of paper up of a photo of someone who's over 16, and gosh, you can get in. I mean, when I was a kid, all you had to do was lie. Just that the little date thing would pop up, and you go, oh, let me just scroll down a ways. Like some people, I imagine, would count like 18 years. No. I was probably like 40 or 50 most of the time. Because I just click and then just scroll. Okay, that's old enough. There are also some notable AI-specific provisions. It introduces new obligations specific to AI chatbot services, including crisis intervention requirements and a prohibition on chatbots posing as humans. Ooh, can't have chatbots say they're people. I like it. Enforcement will run through the Digital Safety Commission of Canada, a new independent regulator with substantial investigatory and enforcement powers. Operators would have to submit a digital safety plan to the Commission, and people in Canada could file complaints about prohibited content. On targeting, the part you're asking about, there's no, in fact, enforced date, and you shouldn't expect one soon. The bill is at first reading only. It is only being debated in Parliament, referred to committee, or subjected to amendment. So, still a long way from law, but this one also failed. Something similar failed last time, but that was before Australia was able to pass one. And so I think this one will, like, as long as they get the wording right, I think they can get it passed. And I think it's probably a good thing. On top of that, most implementation details are left to regulations that haven't even been proposed yet. So enactment is likely several years away, even if Parliament passes it quickly. So practically speaking, the under 16 ban and everything else are proposals at this stage, not law. If you're tracking this for specific reasons, the thing to watch is whether it survives committee and what the actual regulations end up specifying, since that's where the real operation requirement will be. Has there been any update to the Australia social media ban? I hear that they were going to implement further steps. Yeah, because I looked into that earlier too. Okay. Okay. It's still going. Let's look. Yes, there have been several developments since the ban took effect. Here's where things stand. The baseline Australia's under 16 social media ban came into force on December 10th, 2025, making it the world's first national ban of its kind. 10 platforms fall under it: Facebook, Instagram, Kick. Oh, Kick? Twitch. Okay, Twitch is here too. Facebook, Instagram, Kick, Reddit, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, Twitch, X, and YouTube. Oh. So they went for just the big actors. And Threads. With non-compliance fines up to 50 million Australian dollars. By mid-January 2026, the government announced that more than 4.7 million accounts judged to be held by under 16s have been deactivated, removed, or restricted. Now, the further steps you heard about, there are really three threads. The definition was quietly broadened on March 25th, 2026. The Minister for Communications registered the Online Safety Age-Restricted Social Media Platforms Amendment Rule 2026. This added new conditions to what counts as an age-restricted platform. Specifically, The mentioned definition now capture platforms with a recommender feature. Algorithms that select and display content based on a user's account information and/or endless feed type features. The government also registered a rule ensuring the definition includes platforms that have addictive or otherwise harmful design features. So now they're trying to get the once you've got these ones banned, you're trying to make sure that a new one can't just show up and preemptively ban it. This is a meaningful shift in framing. Rather than just being about mental health harms, the law is now explicitly targeting compulsive by design features. The algorithm feed itself. It's worth noting this is one analyst's interpretation, but the rule text does write recommender algorithms and endless feeds into legal definition. I mean, this is just an expansion of it, right? They're still iterating on it to try and get it right. You're never gonna get it right without some kind of digital ID, preferably done by the government. And the simple thing is, you would just enforce social media that is active in your country to use the digital ID system, and therefore you couldn't get access without a digital ID, and you can only, just kind of like how you have to show an ID card to get into a bar. You'd have your digital ID to get into social media. Same system. It's worked well enough, right? Sure, there's slip-ups and some people get through with fake ID, but it's significantly better than no ID. Enforcement is escalating. As of around May 2026, E-Safety Commissioner Julie Inman Grant moved from a cooperative industrial phase into an enforcement stance. 5 platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube, are under investigation for potential non-compliance, with a decision on enforcement actions expected by the middle of the year. None have been fined yet. A compliance report found the major platforms weren't fully complying. If you start actually charging them, what was it, like almost 50 million Australian dollars? What's an Australian dollar? Australian dollar to Canadian dollar. Ooh, basically right on. So that's 50 mil. Like, is that per? You're gonna charge that per non-compliance? Like that'll get them to comply real quick. Compliance report found the major platforms weren't fully complying. Okay, the platform list keeps growing. eSafety has been adding services individually. Wiz, Lemon8, ByteDance, and Bingo Live have all been notified as meeting the conditions, though Bingo Live enforces an 18+ minimum. The list reflects eSafety views as of December 2025 and March 2026. It may continue to change as new services emerge or existing ones evolve. They're not, without digital ID, you're never going to get it right, and you're also not being nearly aggressive enough with it. There's a lot of video games like that also function as social media platforms. Roblox being a major one, and if you don't start looking at those, you'll never fix the problem you're trying to fix. What's still being debated? There's ongoing discussion about whether the ban should expand further. Report has flagged a loophole for gaming apps and exclusions for messaging apps like WhatsApp and Messenger. plus other platforms with social networking features. Roblox was initially considered, then exempted. The open questions are whether eSafety will widen its compliance checks beyond those 5 mainstream platforms and whether self-assessment by tech companies is sufficient. One angle that might interest you given your streaming setup on the list, and Twitch and Kick are both on the list, and Twitch was actually added less than 2 weeks before the December 10 launch. So the live streaming category is squarely in scope, which is a contrast to how Canada's Bill C-36 is approaching things. Okay. I generally think a social media ban for under 16 is a good idea. I don't think any of them are approaching it in a way that'll be successful yet. To mitigate the harm you want to mitigate, you can't just ban kids because they'll find a way around it, right? The ones that want to will find a way. You have to construct a system that they can engage in a more beneficial way. Like, social media by its design is not inherently damaging to people. It's largely how it's used or how it's not regulated that then causes damage. If children just had a social media like a playground, but it was actually regulated and you had supervision that could prevent like the bullying and I know it gets weird in there where you want to actually draw the line, but like you shouldn't allow adults in talking to kids unsupervised. Like, that is just generally something you should not allow. This, like, it's not inherently bad, but usually leads to bad results. Like, the people messaging children on social media usually don't have good intention. So you shouldn't allow that to happen. Like, but if you do it properly, it could be beneficial. Looks like countries right now are going for the ban route rather than the digital ID route, which is what I think would be far more successful at I mean, it'd be far more successful for everyone.